how exactly are consultants viewed, like after their consultancy stint? For instance, like if you want to go into the government sector, perhaps, like, I'm pretty sure it's viewed as an asset, but then I just wanted to hear, like, your experiences or the experiences of your colleagues as well.
Again, I can only speak for Accenture. Our clients are typically clients that we've had for 5 or more years. So we don't typically go in, do a project and leave. We have kind of long-standing contracts with them to solve ongoing business issues. So I think I think it we're viewed as positive for us. We work alongside of their employees, and their executives, are an extension of their business versus, an outsider coming in to, mix things up.
I suppose my question was, like, if it wasn't that our consultants viewed, like, after the project, it is, like, personally, I'm interested in pursuing the consulting job for maybe a couple of years, perhaps. Right now my expertise is in strategic planning, program evaluation, etc. And so I want to kind of solidify that skill through maybe perhaps working in a consultancy firm before going on to governmental jobs. So, like, how is that viewed usually in consultancy firms, that kind of short-term thing? And then, how is that kind of viewed in potential employers after?
I'm also interested in what everyone else has to think, but what I've learned and what I've talked about is that 2 years, 3 years in consulting is like 5 years in the normal world in terms of the expertise that you gain. So I guess I haven't heard of a bad reputation that you can have coming out of consultancy going into the private sector. I think you, as a consultant, you've seen a lot in 2 and 3 years than most people have when they're in one company. So I think it's pretty valuable to have any consulting on your resume.
It turns out, I think most consultants I've spoken with really are sort of don't know what they want to do when they grow up, so they're sort of in consulting, right? Some are in sort of the subject matter areas where their expertise, but in a lot of generalized consulting, people don't exactly know what they want to do, so they do consulting for a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, and then often you'll see that most consulting firms, individuals leave after a couple of years, or even they leave at a fairly senior role to find another opportunity elsewhere. So there's always this influx of people coming in, and there's always this group of people who are always leaving. So I think it's a great place to be if you're still trying to figure out where do you want to go, and to develop some of those core skills that you can use elsewhere. Right? I think one of the things though too, I've been a consultant for 2 years now, but one of the things that I've seen is that at least in the strategy line of work, if you do a lot of strategy consulting and after a couple of years and you haven't done that much sort of general management sort of work, like you haven't really managed a team of people or done sort of managed a P&L or a profit and loss statement or income statement, it may be hard at some point.
I have one thing about the perception I think that people will have of the time you spend in consulting. The belief, and it's probably almost always true, is that a person who has spent some time in consulting has learned to do the customer-facing work, which means that you can usually count on them to have good presentation skills, be attuned to that. Whereas an internal person working for an organization may or may not have that level of perspective or accessibility. So in general, the expectation will be, oh, you were a consultant, you must have done a lot of this customer type of work, whether it be true business development or whether it just be a project out at a customer site where you're serving the customer as well as your own organization. And that's usually a very positive thing that they see, and implied values, whether they're true or not.
If you're interested in sort of doing the governmental role, there are, I think, some consulting firms that have connections with a lot of government organizations and do a lot of work to them. I think one that comes, I mean, there's a couple that come to mind, but, you know, I would look around and to see, you know, which ones have alumni networks, maybe in sort of government institutions, and others that actually specialize in a lot of what they do. Because then, you know, you may also get the opportunity to do general work outside of sort of government, but you may also have great inroads into, you know, where you'd like to go in the future.
Other questions? Yes.
With the increase of localized businesses, are any of your clients looking specifically for people with knowledge about different cultures and how culture plays a role in successful business ventures, everything from negotiations to marketing and websites and all?
Maybe to the trade organization has a lot of information.
Because as an independent, I won't talk about the organization looking for people with global knowledge or those types of skills. What I will tell you is that no matter which team you are on today, you will not be on a homogeneous team. Culturally, gender, age, all of those things. And so the ability to deal with the variances, the differences between people is a skill. Now, if you take that and put it on steroids and say, well, there's language and there's all those types of things, certainly when you start talking the larger organizations here, I'm sure they have a lot more to say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, you know, working, if you, you know, work for a global company like Accenture, you know, part of the solution that you're providing for the client could be utilizing our, you know, outsourced service center in the Philippines. You know, so having, again, a comfort level and openness to, you know, work cross-culturally. We provide training for all of that as well. I think that's a huge part of, you know, what we provide, so that, you know, there isn't that kind, you're not kind of left, you know, to your own devices to figure that out, because we do value our, you know, international partnerships and want to make sure that it's a seamless relationship.
Harder to get a general management position, while it might be easier to get a strategic role in a company, right? So it depends on the role that you want to take afterwards. But again, it's a great place to be if you don't know exactly what you want to do. But over time, you should consider how you want to sort of build your general management expertise if you want to go that